These were some of the first images the world saw from Xinjiang. But it wasn't video leaked on YouTube. It was shown on China's state-run television, CCTV. The government was determined to control the news agenda from the outset. After news of rioting broke out on the internet, officials quickly clamped down on Twitter, YouTube and search engines, clearing the way for the government-approved version of events. The pictures were graphic and the official death toll unusually high. The top half of news bulletins and the front pages of newspapers were filled with images of bloodied victims, but they were mainly from the Han Chinese majority, not the minority Uyghurs.
There were a few men I saw who started throwing rocks.
Foreign media were immediately invited to Urumqi to see the damage for themselves, albeit on a tightly controlled visit. The government appears to have learned from the Tibet riots in March last year. Then, an official media blackout for 24 hours after Tibetans began attacking Han Chinese on the streets of Lhasa meant foreign media focused on the ensuing security clampdown.
One thing I think the Chinese government learned from last year, that how it handled the Tibet situation was bad and backfired. And on a policy level is taking a very proactive approach and is trying to learn from the Western methods of spinning the media.
As with Tibet, the finger of blame for Xinjiang was, from the outset, pointed at outside agitators, exiles stirring up trouble.
More and more people in the world have witnessed the conspiracy of foreign forces to separate Chinese territory and the violent nature of their behavior.
The Uyghurs have been waging their own propaganda war, using Western media outlets to distance themselves from the violence and press home their message that it was the security forces who were breaking up peaceful protests.
Almost inevitably, the Uyghur exiles will win the propaganda war in the sense that most of the international media treat any statement by the Chinese government as necessarily skewed.
But Beijing's biggest concern is not how foreign media cover the story, but of the images that are seen by viewers inside China. In October, the Communist Party will call on all Chinese to celebrate the founding of the People's Republic, 60 years of economic achievements and national unity. Dictating media coverage of the protests in Xinjiang can, perhaps, help salvage the idea of a harmonious, unified nation. But the news agenda remains a tricky thing to control. The foreign journalists invited to Xinjiang were directed by Chinese minders, who inadvertently led them straight into another Uyghur protest. There they found a lone demonstrator confronting the security forces. And despite the government's best efforts, it's this, with its particular resonance in China, that's become one of the defining images of the protests so far. Laura Kyle, Al Jazeera.